So let's do a little video. I'm back for the moment. There's a reason why I wasn't producing any videos, and that's just typically because nothing was really happening. I was sticking to the plan. There wasn't much to look at. Granted, I hadn't been at the desktop for a little while. I've just been trading on my phone, and that's because my chart was as I left it, and I'm going to go through that in this video here. So let's lay out the land with how I like to trade and what has been on my chart and things like that. So I've got the Bitcoin chart at the moment. We're on the 5 daily chart, so each one of these bars are 5 days. And let's go use the object tree on the side here and have a look at the things that I've been looking at over my entire time of trading. So let me start with the trend lines here. So if you've been following my channel, you know that I was tracking the bear market from 2020 when we started in 2021, the start of the bear market, and just been tracking that, right? Coming down like that. When we broke out and we did that retest, that's the FTX crash, pretty much one of the biggest events in crypto history, the bearish event in crypto history, and we did a retest of this trend line. So regardless of what the news had in store for us, we retested that trend line here, and that's what made me purchase some more Bitcoin here. Okay, there was a bunch of indicators that went off here, and I bought some here, and this was a hard time, right? It was a hard time to buy, but I bought some Bitcoin here, I bought some Bitcoin here. And if you was a late TA person, a well-experienced TA person, and you was charting it on the logarithmic chart, that's where you would have bought here. Okay, and you can see the big amounts of volumes kicking in here relative to everything else. Huge volume. It was a great indicator on when to buy. 19,000s, 15,000s, all of those areas you should have been buying if you was part of, if you follow the market, right? That sort of area here, okay? And you see market structure, but that's kind of what it does, right? It consolidates here, and only until it breaks out is it confirmed as accumulation, okay? It's confirmed as accumulation. You can see it here as well. The lows here, breakout, nice accumulation zone, another small accumulation zone here. All right, so that's that. Let me just explain a bit about that. Then let's back out our fibs. You know I like to back out my fibs. Back it out anytime, anywhere, on any chart. All right, I've got 3 fibs here. Oh, and just to mention as well, this trend line, I was mentioning the importance of this bear market trend line because that's what I'm going to do in the bull market. I'm using it as support. We got 2 trend lines here as well. Okay, being respected here, being respected down here, being respected here, and I draw it all the way out. And you'll find that when you do trend lines like this, and it has some confluence with the fibs that I've just backed out, these align very well with some moving averages as well. All right, and then I've got a much more steeper up sloping trend line here. Okay, respected here, and respected here. Okay, so those are on my chart. So back to the fibs. This fib here with the 50%, the red one's the 50%, is at 44,500, and that is measuring the bear market low to the all-time high. Okay, very important. I like to track the 50% and the golden ratio, the 618 and the 0.65. Those are the areas I like for areas of interest. 50%, 618 and 65. Okay, that's how I trade. You might be different. Cool. Then what I have is the 50% from this swing here, this low down here to the all-time high. Okay, the 50% comes at 56,000. Okay, 56,000. All right, and you got your 618s there as well. And then I've got a more closer fib here, which is measuring the range. Okay, and I'm going to speak a bit about that because that's what I've been trading. We've been in that range since February. Cool. And the other thing I've been tracking is time. Okay, I track the time. All right, Gantt talks about time being more important than price, so I track it. All right, so one of the things that I was tracking is the sort of consolidation areas, 256 days. Remember, I was just drawing that square there, those sort of consolidation areas, 256 days, 220 days with that structure being built on this structure, and then we've got like 70 days here. Let's draw that out. That's right here, small sort of consolidation area around here, and then we've got the consolidation area that we're in at the moment. Okay, I'm supposed to have my days up here. Where is that? Let's see, where is it? Let me remove these first. Let's remove my consolidation areas. I told you this is going to be a bit of a rough video. Let's get my ranges on. Price range. Okay, I put it in the wrong folder, but you can see here I'm tracking 220 days here. All right, 220 days where we actually are, where this range is. All right, this range here, that's the range high, the white one. That's the range low, the red one. If you've been watching my videos, you know I've been tracking this range since February. All right, cool. All right, I'm tracking this 220 days in potentially that this might be the range that we range in for 220 days, up to 220 days, because that's what we've somewhat done in the past. Okay, we had a trading range here of 220. We've got a 265 days. Why I don't put too much merit on this one is because we were sort of in the bear market at this stage here, but I'm just noting it down. Still wise to track range. All right, so let's get rid of that squiggly gone. Cool. All right, it looks a bit confusing up here, but stay with me. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Let's take off these some of these indicators. Let's remove my volume. Let's remove my zigzags here, and let's go to where we are today. Right, so we've been in this range since February, right? We've entered this range here, and we've been trading the ranges. That's what we do. We get to the high, we trade it, we short it. We get to the low, we short it. We get to the high, we short it. Okay, and that's what we've been doing. I've had this upswoping trend line for a while. This one here, I've had this for a while. Let's use my arrow instead. Actually, I've been watching this, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't produce the videos, because I was like, we're still in this range, guys. We're still in this range. And I want this range to continue, and it will be interesting to see what happens when we meet this trend line. Okay, because it's very likely we'll get that support. We've got the 50% there, we've got the lower part of the range, which is 60,700, the higher part of the range 73,800, and it's very likely we'll get a sort of bounce here. And that's what I did. That's why there was nothing to produce, no videos to produce. Now if you're worrying about crypto on a daily or the hourly, it's dangerous. All right, because you can see here on the 5-day chart, sometimes, and this is why sometimes you need to zoom out. Because on the 5-day chart here, okay, we came out of the range. It's the first time we sort of came out of the range, and we closed even below the trend line. We even in the 5-day we had a wick that came below the 50%. But then you look at the next candle, and we came back into the lower half of the trading range, and then shot straight back up. Okay, we are getting resistance at this 50%, and that's the 50% of this trading range, and that's still in play. Look at it being respected. It's being respected as resistance right now and being pushed down. It might push through, but at the moment it's being respected. This is why you have to zoom out sometimes, because if I was to go into something like the daily, you can see where people would have got scared. And this kind of goes back to the fear and greed index. Have a look at the fear. The fear went to like 25. Absolutely remarkable. Now, even for me, this is a great lesson for me to remind me of what it sort of feels like in these sort of areas. 25, we've been waiting for a reset on this fear and greed for a long time. We've been up in greed for far too long. All right, and it's extremely fearful down here at 25, and we haven't been down there since like September. Okay, we haven't been down there since like September. And back in September, where were we in September? September, we was down here at like 25k. That's where we were. That's where last time the greed was down, the fear was down there. All right, now I've got these two areas here, September and January, because I'm looking at them specifically as indicators for maybe what altcoins I should go in, or yeah, pretty much that really, what you might want to trade, and that's how I'm going to present it to you guys as well. So I'm having a look at September and the start of the year, January, and you'll just notice that we've had a higher low on Bitcoin, and we are higher than where we are in January. And if your altcoin isn't doing that, then maybe you shouldn't be in that altcoin, right? Because let's be clear, you have Bitcoin, okay? You have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's less riskier than ETH, okay? And ETH, up to this point, is generally less risky than all of the other altcoins, okay? Higher risk, higher reward, okay? There is more reward with altcoins, but you got to get the right one, right? There's millions of altcoins, okay? There's millions of altcoins, and the truth of the matter is, is that 99.9% of them, okay, go to zero versus Bitcoin. Versus Bitcoin, these die. So that's what you're messing with. That's what you're messing with. But if you get the season right and you get the altcoin right, you can make massive returns that you wouldn't make with Bitcoin. So it's up to you how you structure your portfolio, knowing that, right? It's up to you how you structure your portfolio. How I've been running my portfolio is I have 3 portfolios, and this is the same thing I've been saying on the channel for the entire time. My main portfolio with the most amount of money has Bitcoin and ETH in there. Okay, I've actually been having a bit of Sol in there as well, but I just mainly like to say it's Bitcoin and ETH. The large majority is Bitcoin and ETH. All right, it's the less riskiest. All right, and the major part of this portfolio is Bitcoin. My other one is my trading portfolio, where I'm able to swap. I'm allowed to be a bit more flexible. So it's ETH, Sol, and I've actually been including NEAR in there. Okay, ETH, Sol, NEAR. I've got a few others. I do have a few others, but those are my main sort of ones here: ETH, Sol, and NEAR. All right, and I can trade in and out of them. Sometimes I swap some ETH for some Sol, Sol for some NEAR, and stuff like that. I can be flexible. And then my other one is my leverage portfolio, where I can go into anything and I can just trade what I want. But that's just how I like to do it. Some people only like to have this type of portfolio and trade in that sort of style, where they just hold for the bear market. They buy in the bear market, hold it throughout the bull market, and sell it when appropriate. Some people trade in and out of everything. That's the majority of people, and it can wreck you. This can wreck you because you're constantly thinking about what altcoin I should be in and everything like that. So you want to be careful with this type of portfolio, the trading portfolio. And I like to be as careful as possible. I'm quite risk averse. And I do like to have some leverage bets as well. Okay, but be careful. This can wreck you and just wipe you out of your entire account. So be careful. That's just how I like to have it. That's me laying the land for Bitcoin. And that's where we are with Bitcoin. Okay, this is where we are. So what have I been doing with Bitcoin? So not much really, to be honest with you. The only thing I've done, I haven't bought any more Bitcoin, is when we hit this low, as I said, when we hit this low, 50%, I'm buying. I didn't buy any Bitcoin, sorry. I bought some altcoins, okay? Mainly Solana, NEAR, and ETH, okay? Mainly those ones. I'm trying my best to sort of consolidate, because I'm not too sure if we're going to have a bigger retracement here, okay? We might get a bigger retracement. We might get, as we've gotten rejected here at the 50%, which I put on a short. I'm currently 60 odd percent up. Okay, took some profits on that, leave a moon bag and see if it drops a bit further. If it doesn't matter. I'm positioned fine. But yeah, it's looking bullish at the moment. It's looking real bullish. But let's see how we go. We want to hold this area here, the 60,000s. We want to hold that, and we definitely don't want to drop below the 50% again. Okay, because then it's looking like we want to test some lower prices, especially this 618 at 52k. All right, if we lose this range, the red area here, it's very likely we'll come out like this. This is what it will sort of look like. 50%, we'll probably get resistance here at that range low and come back down at least to the 618, at least. Okay, and see if any new buying comes in. If it doesn't, we're coming down to this consolidation area here, this 72-day consolidation, which we haven't back tested. Okay, it's very likely we'll do that. So that starts from about 49k. All right, but I mainly like to focus on the 50%. So I will be buying here. Okay, I have emergency money that I will source. I will do whatever I can to purchase more Bitcoin, and it will only be Bitcoin if we drop out of that and we come down to 37k. Majority of people right now will say that's unlikely. I think it's unlikely, but I need to be prepared. Can you imagine the fear that will be, the number that it will show if we come down here? It'll probably come down to like 15 or 10. Okay, 15 or 10. But it's just being prepared for those possibilities. That's what I like. You know what I mean? This is why things like this don't scare me. This is why when we came out of this trading range here, okay, it didn't scare me, because if I go to the 5-day chart, we closed one candle underneath. All right, just one candle, and then we came straight back into it. So I'm fine. I'm fine with that. So trade appropriately. There's the guidelines. Do what you want with that, and let's keep it moving. So let's have a look at Ethereum, and some of the other altcoins. So ETH has been performing well, and I've got these two arrows on here just like I mentioned before. I'm looking at September and January. And you can see with ETH, we're producing higher lows here, and there's a higher low here on the US dollar pair. Okay, 5 daily chart. We come back down to retest the 50% level, the 50% of this swing here to the high. Okay, 50%, 50% again. It's gonna need to break that. Okay, we want to see ETH consolidate against its 50% from here. Okay, you can see it's getting rejected at the moment. All right, it looks like it's getting rejected at the moment, and we might come back down. All right, we might come back down. There'll be a 50% that will come in at about 3,100. So we'll see if it holds that and is able to get back above here. Okay, and if Bitcoin does, ETH most likely will as well. With the ETF coming in, let's hope we'll get some more upside. But if not, we look to the 618. All right, we look to the 618, and we also look to, well, my plan is to look to this ascending triangle, which we haven't retested. So if we was to have that big crash, just like I mentioned with Bitcoin with the 50% and the 618, I expect ETH to hold up and show some massive support around here, which is likely going to be the 50% of the entire range from the bear market low to the high here. Okay, so keep those on your chart. 2,800, 2,500, and then about 2,000. All right, I would start from around this area here. Sorry, I didn't draw that right. My lowest area I would start would be from around 2,200, because these are these lows, and you got some of these highs, and then you got the ascending triangle there. So then that's where the money would go. All right, there we go. That's with ETH. Let's have a look at Solana. Let's have a look at Solana. Everybody likes Solana. So you know what? Solana's just overly bullish. A lot of the YouTube influencers are really bullish on Solana, and you know, I've been bullish on Solana. I've been buying pretty low, so I'm not really concerned about Solana. But I am sometimes when the sentiment is so heavily strong into a particular altcoin. So what we have here, we're coming into some resistance at $169. This down sloping trend line as well. So we're just watching that. Solana's doing well. Hopefully we push above, retest, and away we go to the top half of this trend line, back to its not its all-time highs, but its bull market highs at 209. Okay, at 209. I might shave some Solana off if we ever get up here, to be honest with you. I might shave some off until if we get there. I'll see how it goes, see if there's any weakness, and make appropriate plans. To the downside though, if we get rejected here, because we are coming into a weekly range high here and the down sloping trend line, there's a chance that it comes back down. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Let me zoom in a little bit, and I want to back out a fib on this swing low here. You can see I've been tracking it and where we are at the moment. So $144. So if we do get rejected, what we want to see is $144 to $137 hold. So you might want to put in on a trade here. Wait until we see some weakness here. If we come back down, that's where I would potentially think about putting on a leverage long. Remember, it's a different part of my portfolio, so don't get confused. When I talk about buying certain things, it depends on what portfolio I'm talking about. But if you're leverage trading, you might want to do something like that. 618 would probably be how I would trade this. And you know, I like to trade in a pyramid like that. Less up here, more down here, stop loss down here. Cool, that's Solana. Let's have a look at NEAR. So where's NEAR? NEAR is here, $6. Who would have thought that NEAR would have went all the way back to like, was that $3 it touched? No, just missed it. $4. It's remarkable sometimes, and this is why you have to be patient. It's a lesson for me to be patient as well. But NEAR's doing well, you know. NEAR is doing well. NEAR's doing very well. We're currently getting rejected here at the weekly swing. We are above our 50% though, so that's good at the moment. I want to see this 618 hold at $4.964. Basically $5. I want to see $5 hold to make this move seem like it's sustainable. It's sustainable. Let's back out our fibs again. Let's back out our fibs from the low to this high. And so that 50%, if you're looking to get it back into NEAR, leverage long, or you believe that we're going to move from now, $5.24 to $4.86. Okay, that's your areas there. So that's that. I'm not going to delve too much into other bits and bobs. There are other coins that I'm looking at. I need to do some TA on, because if we do get a pump, then it's going to be altcoin season. I will have to sell some more Bitcoin for some altcoins. It's most likely going to be either ETH, Sol, or NEAR. I'm a bit risk averse. So that's just the way I trade. Who knows, I might deploy something into some other coins, maybe like Arweave or Akash Network looks quite good. And you know, you want to make sure, like for example, NEAR versus ETH, this is something that I've been tracking, right? If I'm going to be playing with a particular portfolio where I'm trading in out of ETH, Sol and NEAR, like I want to make sure this is performing. And this is something that I've been tracking. The head and shoulders, the inverse head and shoulders, neckline, head, other neck here, and you know I've been tracking this. Look at that. So dear September, this is what some of the things you want to see. Higher lows from September to January, and a higher low in price comparison to where we are. And you can see you might have been scared here. You might have been scared here. So when you're if you was just following this trend line, you would have seen us break this trend line, and you might have gotten scared out of your position. Not me, because I was tracking this 618. Check my previous videos. I've always been tracking this. That 618 confluence with the weekly swing, I wanted to see this hold. It held. We're back up. We came above this up to this resistance. It was resistance, this trend line, above the 50%, and I want to see NEAR close above here. I don't want to see NEAR come back down out of this trend line and start closing below here. If it does, I'm gonna start exiting my position of NEAR for ETH. Simple as that. Nothing attached to it, because ETH will be outperforming NEAR. And that's fine. NEAR could still go up. I'm not going to sell everything, but I'm going to sell a majority of it, because that just invalidates my inverse head and shoulders play. So that's that. Sol versus ETH, and you want to make sure that these things are outperforming ETH, right? Look at this. This is Sol versus ETH. What is it doing? Higher lows. Okay, so it's higher lows from September to January, and higher lows from where we are right now. So that's good. The only thing with Sol right now is it's just broken its trend. Okay, this trend line has broken, whereas on NEAR it came back into this trend. Now granted, this is quite a steep trend that Sol's been going through. All right, I'm very keen to see how it reacts to this area here. Okay, very keen to see how Sol reacts here. Now resistance is resistance until it's not, so maybe I might consider selling some of my Sol for ETH. All right, we'll see how that goes. Maybe it's giving us a clue that ETH is starting to gain a lot more strength, because if I go to the ETH BTC charts, so now we're comparing ETH versus Bitcoin, all right, you can see it has broken its trend line, all right, but it had on a few others, and we got a few fake outs. That's on the daily chart, 5 daily chart. Okay, not much closes outside. You can see we got one close out here, push down, one close out here, push down, one closed candle out here, push down. Now we're getting a few closed candles and holding this weekly trend. All right, but you know, if you've been watching my videos, my plan has been to sell my ETH for my Bitcoin for ETH in a pyramid. All right, and I have been, and for clarity, sorry, with something like this, all right, where I layer in more money at the bottom than I do at the top of the pyramid. If time goes by, okay, because we entered that area here, the first part of my pyramid here, all right, let's imagine you have, maybe it's something like $10, all right, so you only enter $10 when we're in this part, all right. If we ever get down to here, maybe you put in $30, and maybe it's like $30 a month you put in, all right. Anytime at the end of the month, you just put in $30 here, $30 here. If it reaches the end of the month and you're in this range, $10 here, $10 there. And if it enters the bottom range where you put in more money, $50 a month, depending on how long we stay there. And that's how you could trade that. That's how I sort of like to do the pyramid scheme over time. All right, over time. So that's that. That's me trying to catch a falling knife for Ethereum, for more Ethereum to sell from selling my Bitcoin. And that's it, really. That's it. This video is going to be hella long, but I haven't done a video in a while. But those are the main ones I'm looking at. Oh yeah, be very aware. One of the things I'm looking at is BNB. Okay, nobody talks about BNB, but BNB is one of the very few coins that has produced an all-time high. That's an old coin. Not even Ethereum has done this. So don't sleep on BNB. Don't sleep on the house. Don't sleep on the house. Okay. It's a very easy trade. To be honest with you, I wish I had more BNB. Everybody should bet on a house. Okay, whether it's BitGet, whether it's KuCoin. I haven't had a look at KuCoin in ages. $9. I remember buying this thing at $4 in the last bear market. I could have held on to this and I still would have been up. Most people would have been up. So I mean, it hasn't performed as great, but I mean, you would have done well if you were still buying that back here in 2021. Okay, 2021, further back 2020, you'd still be up even on KuCoin. So don't sleep on the houses. That's just what I wanted to say. BNB still performing very well versus ETH. It's above its 50%, but we do have a down-sloping trend line here as well. And I need to go back to this chart. I haven't looked at this chart in ages. BNB versus ETH. Yeah, we track it. So yeah, but then again, you know, guys, what do I know? Stay safe out on these crypto streets.